أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحاب أجمعين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, once again we thank Allah for granting us the opportunity to engage with Tibba Nabawi, a science that has been sent for the healing of mankind. And in the words of Jalaluddin As-Suyuti, he said that his medicine is the Sunnah. So likewise, in this journey that we've been on for the last few weeks, we came across many interesting topics. And one of the most interesting topics would be the topic of temperament, which we said was an important aspect of medicine throughout the golden era of Islam. And we find that temperament zones in on the individuality of people. Tonight we're linking on to lifestyle factors. So we'll do a quick recap on last week's lesson to put everything into perspective. We spoke about the temperament, which refers to the individuality of everyone. And we said this temperament would be linked on certain qualities. So as you're sitting here, we said some people might feel that tonight would be too warm, some people might feel it's too cold. It depends on the quality that governs you. We said, we also spoke about this important term in natural medicine, which says, know thyself, heal thyself. Self-knowledge is very important for well-being. The more we know about ourselves, the more we are able to manage or better manage our day-to-day activities. So we spoke about 4 temperaments, 4 different body types that's linked onto certain qualities. We said the first body type was the sanguine person. They're the happy-go-lucky individual. They have a very positive outlook in life. They're extroverts. So they naturally good when it comes to communication. They're socialites. So it's very easy for them to communicate. Alongside this personality, there's a certain body structure. They tend to have more muscle than fat. Also very important for each body type would be the disease predisposition. These individuals are linked to what we call heated conditions, like high blood pressure, diabetes. So the importance of knowing your temperament is that you will be able to live a preventative lifestyle. And throughout the books of Tibba Nabawi, written by Jalaluddin As-Suyuti and Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, you will find that 70% of the content would link the Prophet's advices to temperament. The next body type we spoke about was the phlegmatic individuals. These individuals, they tend to have more fat than muscle. They're connected to the element of water. Like water, they're very calm, accommodating, easygoing people. They're called phlegmatics because they're prone to phlegm-related conditions. So they develop colds and flus easier. They're prone to asthma. They're prone to low blood pressure. They're prone to depression. So there's certain illness conditions that each of us would be prone to. And by knowing your temperament, you could actually live a lifestyle to prevent those conditions or to better manage the conditions. We said that each temperament has a good and an evil side. The good side allows the temperament to come to the fore. So for the phlegmatic people, they're natural born counselors. They're very in touch with their emotions. When they meet people, they portray a good feeling. The bad side of the phlegmatic people, they could tend to be a bit lazy when it comes to certain events. So they need motivation. The next temperament is connected to earth. They call melancholic people. Like the word melancholia, they have a deep sense of sadness because they're perfectionists. So they expect the world around them to be perfect. They look into the intricate details of every matter. They tend to be over-analytical. The good side linked to this temperament is that they're very creative, they're philosophical, deep thinkers. They're very important people to have in our society. They're the great poets, the people who discover the deeper answers to life. Their temperament will be linked onto coldness, meaning they're prone to coldness. So during the season, autumn would be their worst season. So they develop colds and flu very easy if they don't manage their lifestyle factors. And we'll speak about the lifestyle factors tonight. The next temperament is connected to fire, the fiery personality. They're very stern individuals. If you look at their facial features, it's very hard, straight eyebrows, strong jawline. When they speak to the point. For them, seeing is believing. They're realists. They're very resourceful, hardworking. They tend to be workaholics. They're prone to heat-related conditions. They tend to anger very easily. They have a very low heat tolerance. So the heat of summer can be overwhelming for them. So they're prone to inflammatory conditions, gastritis, chronic fatigue syndrome, burnout. So if they don't manage their lifestyle well, it can lead to burnout. So we spoke about the 4 temperaments, and each of them have certain qualities connected to them. So what's important of knowing your temperament? If you know whether you are a heated or a cold person in nature, you'll be able to manage your lifestyle well when it comes to seasons. So if you look throughout the seasons, there's a certain quality connected to each season. So when it comes to summer, the heat and dryness is very intense. So those individuals that are connected to heat, during the summer season, they should take extra precaution to avoid the midday sun, to hydrate enough, to be aware that due to the innate heat that's very high in their body, if they expose themselves excessively to the heat of summer, it will bring about a heat imbalance, an overaccumulation of heat in the body that can be seen on their skin, that can be felt in the pulse, that can be seen in their personality. Some people could be prone to anger simply due to mismanagement of heat. If you look at the cold individuals, when the cold of winter approaches, they should be aware that that would be their worst season. So for instance, for the phlegmatic people, the people that recognize that they fall within that frame, as winter approaches, they should stay away from cold beverages. They should increase the heating soups and spicy foods to increase innate heat. And in doing so, you could fend off colds and flus, or you limit the incubation time or the extent of the illness. So the air that we're exposed to has qualities as well. If you are a cold individual, understand that throughout the day there's different temperatures and different qualities attached to the day. Early morning would be cold and dewy. So if you can avoid the outside air, avoid the air, because it could affect you negatively. For the heated individuals, for them to run or jog early morning in the cold condition wouldn't affect them as bad as it would affect the melancholics or the phlegmatic individuals. So the objective of temperament is to become sensitive to what affects you. Because as human beings, our environment has an effect on us. It can contribute to positive attributes, or it can affect us negatively. We find an important aspect within Tiba Nabawi would be breathing exercises employed for relaxation. So we know that breathing, correct breathing, is important for the circulation within the body. In order to reach a calm state, there's different type of meditative exercises. There's slow breathing exercises. When you breathe slow, you cool down the body. So deep inhalation and exhalation cools down the body. When you breathe fast, rapidly, it increases the heat within the body. So we find different ulama within Tib formulated different types of dhikr or adhkar according to the breath. So in modern medicine or in natural medicine today, they call it guided imagery. When somebody suffers a certain condition, we can use our creative skills, our imagination to assist us to accept the condition or fight off the condition in a better way. So for instance, for patients that suffer with pain in certain areas, alongside taking your medication, alongside following the doctor's advice and physiotherapy and everything that's needed to assist you, guided imagery allows you to visualize healing within. So what happens is, if there's a certain pain in a certain area, visualize the pain to be a darkness within a certain, for instance, if you have a pain around the knee joint. So you visualize that it's red and it's painful and throbbing. And when you do adhkar, you think that as you breathe in Allah's name, or you think you vision healing from Allah in terms of light, going to the source of the pain, wrapping itself around the pain, and as you exhale the pain, or you exhale the negative thought in your mind, or anything that affects you. The ulama in the past used to use dhikr with the breath and guided imagery to move patients towards a better place. So this type of meditation, it takes discipline. It takes time to perfect, but as you do it, it has an effect on the body. Because as you think about the benefits around you, the fresh air, the fact that when you breathe in the air, it brings in nutrients and oxygen, and you can actually subdue pain through conditioning the mind. Within Tibb Nabawi, a big aspect for healing, as we spoke in the past, would be Sunnah nutrition, foods. But it goes beyond recognizing foods within a category of carbohydrates or fat or protein, or recognizing the benefits of organic foods or the nutrients within foods. Tibb Nabawi speaks about qualities of food, meaning there are certain foods that heat the body. So spices would be heating foods. There are certain foods that cool the body. Cucumbers, lettuce, salads would be cooling on the body. So depending on your temperament, there's certain foods that will benefit you at a certain time of the year. So if you're a phlegmatic person and the coldness of winter comes, best to stay away from the cold beverages, milkshakes, cold salads from the fridge, and best to adhere to a heating diet. So within Tibb Nabawi, different foods are given for different seasons. So we shouldn't just choose food haphazardly. So we'll find the Prophet ﷺ spoke about this in authentic hadith, where he mentioned that we should consume dates and cucumbers because the heating nature of the dates or the cooling nature of the cucumber overcomes the heating nature of the dates. To show that balance within Sunnah nutrition goes beyond quantity, but it focuses on quality. So when you eat something, take note of what effect it brings to the body. For some people might enjoy spicy food, and you'll find that during summer, if you overindulge in spicy food, your heat tolerance becomes very little. You'll become overheated. So a way to manage the heat wave of summer would be to limit your spicy food, or to have the spicy food with something cooling. For instance, when you have biryani or akini and you have dahi with it, the yogurt, it balances the meal. So when you eat food, think about qualities that's involved. But definitely, I'm just touching on the science of qualities. It's a huge science within Tibb Nabawi, within Tibb medicine. We heal through food. So for illness conditions, for instance, every illness condition has a quality that's associated with it. So when a patient comes to a Tibb practitioner with a cold and a flu, we recognize the person's a phlegmatic person. We know that in order to overcome that flu, we'll have to increase the heat. So we'll prescribe ginger tea, peppermint tea, ginger, garlic, chicken soup, spicy foods. And all of that will increase innate heat. And when you consume those foods, what happens? It thins the mucus. So it helps to facilitate the body's elimination of the virus or the bacteria. Different categories of food are also noted to have different qualities. A diet that's very rich in protein would have an overall quality of dryness to it, meaning that it will create innate dryness. Fats are said to be very heating for the body. Carbohydrates, excessively moist. If you were to make a pot of food with different ingredients that has different qualities, and you would want to find out what would be the overall quality of that pot of food. Qualities are linked to tastes. If something tastes salty, it means it increases the heat and moisture in your body. So we know that high blood pressure is seen to be a heat and moisture condition. So excess salt, which is hot and moist, will contribute negatively to high blood pressure. So we find that the ancient knowledge of Tibb coincides with modern day findings in a different manner through the philosophy of Tibb. So very spicy foods will be hot and dry. So if you're suffering with cold and flu or asthma, to have something spicy, you will notice that It will also be recognized within modern medicine as an anti-inflammatory perhaps, like ginger, turmeric, cumin, chili, capsicum, all noted to be anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, but in Tib we recognize it as heating foods. So we give it for infectious conditions, and we find that it assists the body's healing abilities. When something is sweet, it is said to be high in moisture. So it's very important to balance between heat and coolness when it comes to what you consume. Another important lifestyle factor. So we're speaking about the 6 lifestyle factors. So once you know your temperament, there are 6 factors that if you manage it well, you are able to enjoy good health. Or whatever illness you suffer from, you'll be able to manage that illness well. So the first lifestyle factor that we spoke about was food and drink. What we consume has a big role to play. So you have your temperament, whether it's a heating temperament or a cooling temperament. Every day, what you consume throughout the day contributes to the temperament in a positive or a negative light. So if you're a cool person and you're having too much cooling foods in the heart of winter, you increase your susceptibility to cold-related conditions, like colds and flus. If you think about children that suffer asthmatic attacks, you will notice it's a common factor. Most children suffer attacks after a cold milkshake on a cold night, for instance. Or during the summer nights, late at night, they're having excessive icy things, which becomes excessively cold on the chest. So you will notice that every illness has qualities that can be recognized. Rheumatoid arthritis, it's marked by pain, inflammation, redness, which is an overaccumulation of heat. So within our medicine, within Tib, we would treat with opposites. When it comes to movement and rest, which refers to exercise, not every exercise would be beneficial for everyone. We all have different constitution, different body types. So an aerobic, fast-paced exercise might not be good for the next person. So therefore, it's very important to assess yourself before you undergo any type of drastic exercise program to see if this exercise is suited for your body type. For instance, the melancholic individuals, those individuals they have a thin bony frame. Their bodies are best suited for running because they're slender built. However, if they run at the wrong times of the day, during the excessive heat, it leads to dryness within the body, which can affect their joints. It doesn't mean that they can't run in the heat. It means that they would have to ensure that they're hydrating enough, that they're looking after their joints, they're supplementing with a valuable oil like olive oil, they're supplementing with omegas. So every temperament can function in every type of condition depending on how well they manage themselves under those circumstances. So when we do fast-paced exercises, it increases the heat and dryness in our body. So if you're a heated individual and you love running, the worst time for you to run would be midday when the sun's at its peak, because it would mean that you lead to burnout quicker. But if you were to organize your day and run at the beginning of the day and the evening, you'll be able to run longer and your body will be able to handle much more. We spoke about Tib Nabawi, recognizing that the different postures of Salah eases or facilitates elasticity of the joints. It assists with different organs of the body. Within prophetic medicine, within the Sunnah, Prophet ﷺ encouraged looking after the physical body. So we find swimming is part of the Sunnah, the wrestling or some form of combat training, horse riding, various types of exercise. And today, basically any types of exercise that suits your body would be beneficial. Our sleeping patterns. For every temperament, there are ideal sleeping patterns. For the bilious temperament, the individuals that are the go-getters, the very resourceful individuals, they can do with a few hours of sleep, 5 to 6 hours. But we find the phlegmatics, that they need 8 hours of sleep. If they don't get their full 8 hours of sleep, they'll be very moody. If they sleep more than 8 hours, they become very lethargic. So you can imagine if there's a couple, phlegmatic wife and a bilious husband, they won't get along very well because the husband will say the wife sleep too much and the wife would say but if you understand temperament, you can actually improve the relationship amongst spouses, amongst children, because you understand that you need your extra hours. So tonight all the phlegmatic wives are going to tell their husband, you see, I told you, I needed the extra 2 hours on Saturday morning to catch up. So understand that when it comes to sleeping patterns, when it comes to exercise, it cannot be generalized. Therefore, you find diets do not work for everyone. The general population, they follow whatever's trending on a certain diet, but the results aren't the same. Because everyone is unique, and we have different factors that works in our favor or against us. And Tibba Nabawi recognizes this. Therefore, you find constantly the Prophet ﷺ would give advice to the Sahaba depending on who they were. So Sahaba would come to the Prophet ﷺ daily, give me advice, and the Prophet ﷺ would say to one Sahaba, don't become angry, recognizing that anger is his problem. So likewise today, a lot can be said about someone's temperament, about the character, the constitution. So understand that we shouldn't generalize when it comes to our healthcare, because it's very important to note that if you follow a program that goes against your temperament, it will be more of a harm than a benefit. The linking onto the sleep pattern, Prophet ﷺ advised us on how to sleep. He said that when we go to bed, we should perform wudu as you would perform for salah, and lie on your right side and recite this dua. What's very significant is that if you look at all the recommendations within Tibba Nabawi, you will find that it links on to recommendations given for behavioral sciences today. Behavioral medicine, recognizing that a large part of the population suffers from insomnia. We cannot sleep at night. And one of the main problems would be due to the stress that builds throughout the day. So we lay in our beds and things are going through the mind, uncontrollable things. And when you find the recommendations are given, some recommendations would say that take a warm bath, massage the joints. Some would say write a few positive points in a diary, show some gratitude, write down some positive aspects of your life. And if you link this to the Prophet's Sunnah, you'll see that it's all there. The Prophet taught us about shukr, about gratitude, about being thankful. And in being thankful, you find a certain type of calmness that overcomes the individual during our stressful days, because we start recognizing that there's certain blessings in our lives. And in psychology, this is well known to be a positive self-help mechanism when it comes to coping. So to make shukr at night, to reflect on the night, to recite, are all aspects that calm you down before you sleep. To perform wudu means that we're connecting with water. And we said that water is one of the most influential elements on the body because we're made of more than 70% water. So when you're performing that wudu, understand that when it passes over your limbs, it has an effect for the physical body. It can calm down a stressed mind. So there's different ways of sleeping, and you find all types of sleeping patterns and positions. I'm sure you found people sleeping in the most weirdest of places. And when you sleep incorrectly, it harms the body, damages the spine, it affects the organs. So the Prophet also recommended sleeping on the right side. So let's look at what happens to the body when you sleep incorrectly. So sleeping on the belly. The Prophet also mentioned that shaitan sleeps on the belly. And we find that you'll tend to sleep on the belly after you overeat, because that would be the best position to lay in. However, it's a position that's not beneficial to the body. We have to recognize that sleeping is a rejuvenating rest. Whilst we are resting, the body is also replenishing. So the immune system is revitalized, proper digestion takes place. All the system, the organs within the body would be renewed or regulated. And if we miss out on proper sleep, it can be an underlying cause of disease, or it contributes to disease. So if you're laying on the belly, it leads to improper back support. We find that when it comes to infants, one of the worst positions to lay would be on the belly. What happens when you lay on your back? That would be considered more detrimental than laying on the belly, because what happens from an anatomical position when you're laying back, you find that the epiglottis or the palate, the soft palate would relax, and it will cause you to snore. So it blocks your airways, so you wouldn't breathe correctly. And in order to compensate for that, the jaw drops and the body tries to gasp more air because there's a narrowing of the airways. If you look at the nose hairs is designed to trap dust and pollen and bacteria. When the mouth is open, the mouth is exposed to everything that's supposed to be trapped within in the nose hairs. So that means it sits within the throat. So it leads to a coated tongue in the morning, bad breath. It can lead to gum disease, and it affects the posture as well when you sleep on the back. If you sleep on the left-hand side, we'll see the body's not symmetric in terms of organ distribution. So when you look within the body, we'll find that there's certain organs that sit on one side more than the other side. For instance, the heart would sit more to the left in the chest than to the right. So the left side of the lungs would have an impression for the heart. If you look at the digestive tract, the stomach is a boot-shaped organ, a hollow muscular organ that lays to the left of the body. So studies have shown that when you sleep on your left-hand side, the digestion is altered in some way. It takes a bit longer. The transit time is increased. So definitely there is studies to show that the body enjoys a better rest on the right-hand side. What's also very significant would be the bronchial tubes that leads to the lungs. The right bronchial tube would be more horizontal. So some people within the field of Tib recommends that when you sleep on the side, it facilitates the movement of mucus throughout the night to move without the bronchial tube or the right lung. Very important to note that whilst recommendations are given in Tib an-Nabawi to sleep on the right side, to do certain activities, if you're suffering an injury, so you sprained your arm, it wouldn't be wise for you to sleep on the right-hand side. So remember, Tib an-Nabawi, the guidance is given to facilitate ease in our life. Whenever a sunnah interferes with your well-being, it will be sunnah not to follow that. So it shouldn't be that you're doing something that's harmful to you because you believe there's benefit in it. The benefit is if it brings you ease. So like we find it, a good example would be when it comes to salah, for the elderly individuals or for young people, we have an injury, but we don't want to sit on the chair because we feel that it's inferior in terms of our salah being accepted, or the stigma attached. So we'll rather do the bending motion that causes extreme pain, when in actual fact that could invalidate the prayer, because the prayer is supposed to be something that you can relax and you can hand over the matters to Allah in a calm manner. But when you're undergoing certain types of pain, the deen facilitates ease. Therefore you find that when you're ill, there is no need for you to fast. You can pay it back, and if you're unable to, if you suffer a chronic condition, then there's certain individuals that don't have to pay that back. Therefore we pay the fidya. And same with wudu, with water. If water will be the cause of any harm to a certain part of the body, then you are allowed to make a tayammum. So understand that Tib an-Nabawi is there to facilitate ease in our lives. Our emotions, we spoke about emotions, that every type of emotion that we undergo exerts a type of quality on the body. So depending on your temperament, each temperament would be linked to a certain emotion that they would tend to lead to the imbalance. So the heated individuals, the problem that they have is they struggle with anger. So anger overcomes them very easily. So Tiba Nabui teaches us how to manage this anger, manage your heat. So we gave the example, the bilious person during the heat of summer. Ensure that you're having enough, that you're properly hydrated because it keeps you cool. Ensure that you limit your spicy foods in summer, because the overaccumulation of heat can make you susceptible to anger. You could anger easily due to the overaccumulation from spicy foods, from the heat exposure. So part of management, anger management, would be to cool yourself down. And within Tiba Nabui, the Prophet ﷺ recommends, if you are in a state of anger, perform wudu. Color therapy. Everything that we come in contact with has an effect on us. And Tiba Nabui teaches us that everything in creation has the potential to heal, if only we can open our minds to that. Everything that influence our senses, smell, taste, hearing, even our thoughts. So color therapy is a natural form of therapy that recognizes that color has an effect on our lives. For the heated individual, during the heat of summer, it wouldn't be wise for you to wear a red outfit, for instance, because red is a very striking color linked to heat. It's a color of danger. With red comes a certain feeling. So you could actually influence the effects on your temperament by surrounding yourself with certain colors. So therefore you find that in certain hospitals, in pediatric wards, in psychiatric wards, certain colors are chosen to complement the patients. So if you're needing to an environment to be calm, for instance, a school, a creche, kindergarten, red wouldn't be the best color for the walls. Why? Because the children are probably hyper due to the sugar, and when they see the color red, it excites them more. So you want to go for light blue, for purple, for soft colors. So every color that we see has an effect on us. And when you acknowledge it, you increase the efficacy of that. So we find that the Prophet ﷺ, there's certain colors that he loved. There was a particular coat that he loved wearing, a red cloak. The Prophet ﷺ loved the color green. And if you look at these colors in nature, you see it has an effect on the body. If you were to glance over a green meadow or grasslands or gardens, it has the effect of calmness on you. If you look at the color blue, the ocean, a dam, a lake, it can be soothing. So when you recognize that color can present some type of healing, automatically you have more resources in your day-to-day living. Tiba Nabui teaches us that we are not victims to our illnesses, as opposed to some medical systems that makes us believe that your only answer to your illness condition lies in a tablet. Tiba Nabui teaches us that healing is all around us all the time. And it's for us to look a bit deeper at things. So the color that you wear, the color that you come in contact with, the color that you choose for your room, the dining room, the places in your house, choose colors that complement you well. So if you want a room to be stimulating, then colors that you could use on your desk or on the walls, or orange and yellows, are very stimulating colors. If you wake up and you're feeling in a very down mood and you need to be uplifted, link to the color of orange and yellow and reds. So this can also be used as a resource. Aromatic medicine refers to aromatherapy. Smells has an effect on us, and it can have a positive or negative effect. Our attar that we wear, it can be good for you, or it could be adding to your heat. So if you're a bilious individual, attar like oud would be very stimulating for you. It could be overstimulating. It could be overbearing. It could be the reason why you develop a migraine when you throw too much oud on. So if you're heated individuals, understand that too pungent aromatic smells will affect you negatively, or it will increase your heat. The best attar for you would be musk. So to wear sweet smelling attar will complement the heated individual. So on a hot day, heat wave day, you have to choose between the two. Choose the sweetest smelling one because it's cooling on the body. In that way, by recognizing it, you also allow your body to absorb from that in terms of it becomes effective because we recognize that the smell that you're applying to you has a benefit to the body. Also, different plants has an effect. For instance, rosemary. The smell of rosemary is stimulating to the mind. It can create mental alertness. It can make you study better. So when you undertaking any type of activity, research on a certain plant. Lavender is soothing. So lavender in the bathroom at night before you sleep can make you sleep better. Lavender growing in a pot plant or in front of the window at the children's bedroom can make them sleep better at night. So understand that what we smell has an effect on the body. And Tibba Nabawi is very specific about this. The Prophet loved sweet smells. In actual fact, that the Sahaba would comment that the Prophet smell was so sweet that when he left a certain place, you could follow him by the smell that was left in the air or the pathway that he walked through. So at the one center, the Sama Center, they practice aromatherapy with color therapy. So the massage room would have different colors suited for your temperament. So if you're a heated individual, the room's color would change to, or they'll change the color to blue or to purple, and they will inform you that this is cooling colors. So fluorescent lights change, suited for your temperament, and oils are chosen for your temperament. We spoke about elimination. Tibba Nabawi promotes ridding the body of waste products. And there's various forms that we spoke about. This final lesson is also basically a recap. So we spoke about fasting, the use of cupping, massage therapy, the use of figs to ensure good bowel movement, senna, honey, keeping the colon clean, detoxification, the use of certain oils on the body. We find in our tradition that the grandmothers especially used to use oils on the children's hair, amla oil and coconut oil and olive oil, and the children complained because their hair was always oily. But there was a wisdom attached to it. Coconut oil was applied to the head during summer. Coconut oil is cooling in nature. So when it's applied to the head, it soothes the mind, it keeps the body cool. Olive oil is heating in nature. So understand within our upbringings and our traditions, especially all the Eastern traditions, and in Islamic traditions like the Malay tradition and the Indian tradition, there are things that came down from our forefathers that we consider to be things done without wisdom. But modern science shows that there was wisdom behind it. The food that we eat, the mixing of certain spices, there's remedies in that spices or remedies in those meals for certain illness connected to certain seasons. So you'll find that there's certain foods that would be presented at certain seasons. And if you look at the traditional ways of making that food, you'll find that spices are used that are high in antimicrobial properties during winter, for instance. So what's happening globally? In the modern world, there's a revival of these traditions. The old way of doing things that was considered to be old wives' tales, bijgelofies, things that didn't make sense. There's wisdom the wisdom is being shown through scientific studies. So when it comes to illness condition, understand that any illness that we suffer is directly linked to our temperament. It's definitely, there's a cause and effect. And according to Tibba Nabawi, for every illness there is a cause. For every illness there is a cure. And cure can be found in many things. It's not limited to one thing. And the whole dunya can present cures. Generally within Tib, illnesses that takes place before the age of 40 is said to be reversible, depending on your body's constitution. Doesn't mean that illnesses after the age of 40 is irreversible. It means that when you're younger, the body's fighting spirit, the doctor within is stronger. So it's very important to note that to make those wise decisions at a young age will benefit you in the future. Also important to note that if you live your life according to Tibba Nabawi, at any stage of your life, you would benefit from Tibba Nabawi, because prophetic medicine links us with that natural way of life. So when we manage our lifestyles according to our temperament, we enjoy good health. When we mismanage, so our eating habits, our sleeping patterns, our air exposure, our exercise is not suited for the body type, that's when we find the onset of disease. So every illness conditions within Tib would be linked to a certain quality. Hypertension would be linked to the sanguine individuals, asthma to the phlegmatic individuals. So every illness condition has a quality linked to it. And within Tib, as Tib is practiced in South Africa today, we find that doctors are qualified as Tib practitioners. We treat via looking at the temperament, using certain medication, cupping therapy, massage therapy, personalized programs, and ultimately the individual is important. As Hippocrates says, that it's more important to know what sort of person has the condition or the disease than to know what sort of disease the person has. So who you are, your body makeup is very important when it comes to managing good health. So this basically concludes our series. For those people that missed out on previous lectures, you could find it on YouTube. If you were to type in the Sheikh Yusuf Center or MSA Stellenbosch or Tib Nabawi, you will come up to the 10 lectures on YouTube. The Sama Center is the center that practices Tib medicine. They do aromatherapy, massage therapy, etc. And I end up with this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he mentioned that he said, I left with you two things that if you hold on to it, you will never go astray. The Book of Allah and my Sunnah. And as Jalaluddin As-Suyuti says, that my Sunnah is my medicine. Okay, question. Is frying with coconut oil okay? Yes, coconut oil is seen to be one of the best oils to use for frying. But organic coconut oil. So the more pure the coconut oil, the better. Is it okay to drink a few aloe crystals every day? Aloe crystals would be referred to as a bitter herb. And what it does to the colon, it creates some type of irritation which facilitates bowel movement. So in other words, it makes the stool loose. So it's a cure to constipation. So aloe crystals is a laxative. To take it every day without supervision could be harmful because you could be eliminating excessively. So under supervision, I would advise that whoever's taking aloe crystals every day, go for a consultation by a practitioner. And a practitioner in herbal medicine that understands how aloe crystals work. Can a person that's on antidepressants be weaned off and take Tib medicine instead? Any type of medication can be weaned off. When it comes to antidepressants, when it comes to corticosteroids, caution should be taken. It should never be done without the physician. However, the practitioner that's treating you has to weigh the pros and the cons. And a very important rule in medicine is first, do no harm. So you have to weigh, is it going to be beneficial for you to get off this chemical medication because of all the side effects? I'll give you an example. Someone has high blood pressure. And the high blood pressure, they suffered for a few years and there's structural damage. So the arteries are damaged and their heart is weak. But they cannot handle the side effects of the high blood pressure anymore. So now they want to resort to natural medication with the belief that natural medication will be as effective as that medication and free of side effects. Firstly, herbal medication does have side effects because it's a medicine. It does have complications, adverse effects. It interacts with other medication. So the practitioner have to analyze the patient and weigh the pros and cons. If they stop the high blood pressure medication, they could suffer a heart attack. So understand that we shouldn't choose things without knowledge. Within Tibba Nabawi, the knowledge of medicine has been held in high regard, second to the study of deen. So we find that the ulama of the past, specifically Imam Shafi'i, mentioned that after the study of religion, of deen, there is no better study than the study of tib. So the study of the body, meaning it's a deep study. So for us to go to buy an over-counter medication that's natural and take ourselves with medication is a great injustice to our bodies. It can be done for specific people, and in some cases it shouldn't be done. So understand that medication, all medication can be weaned, but it has to be done under a qualified practitioner. Does fasting have an influence on a person's temperament, and how does it impact on our temperament? Every activity that we undergo has an effect on our temperament. And when you have your ideal temperament, for instance, say a phlegmatic person, there's a high level of cold, but a certain level of cold is good for the person. When that level goes beyond its requirement, it leads to disease. So within tib, all illnesses would be linked on the body's excess of a certain quality. When we fast, it cools down the body and it dries out the body because we're abstaining from food. So the metabolism has a rest. So therefore we have to rehydrate properly. So the people that are very dry in nature, like the bilious people and the melancholics, they'll have to rehydrate more efficiently or more than the phlegmatic people, because the phlegmatic people would have a high level of moisture content. So they generally fast easier. The phlegmatic people and sanguine people, they fast easier, and that's due to their temperament. Besides Sunnah fasting days, increasing fasting in Rajab and Shaban months leading to Ramadan, does this influence our temperament? Okay, it's a similar question. What it does do, it improves our health status. So studies were done on people that fast regularly, and it is found that their bodies produce improved immune cells. So constantly there's a recycling of cells within the body, but the people who fast on a regular basis, there's a better improvement. The metabolism is improved. So if you, before the month of Ramadan, if you were diagnosed with high blood pressure, for instance, and the doctor told you that if you don't correct your diet, I'll have to put you on tablets soon. If you go through the month of Ramadan fasting, according to Tibba Nabawi, consuming foods that are good for you, you could leave the month free of any medication or free from having to take medication. But I'm talking about the person that the doctor said that go through a dietary process. So definitely fasting does benefit blood pressure, it can benefit diabetes, it can benefit many illness conditions. But there are some individuals that illness conditions are far down the line that it will be detrimental for them to fast. So certain diabetic people, when they stay without food for too long, it can harm them negatively. So if you're on chronic medication, don't fast unless your practitioner allows you to. And for some, they say that the practitioner's his advice should be taken very seriously in terms of the rank of his knowledge, because it's connected to the body, and the protection of the body has a very high place in Islam. Okay, the question is, does fasting patterns have an impact on a person's spiritual life? Definitely, fasting in the month of Rajab and Sha'ban and Ramadan, and those people that follow it consecutively, definitely it has a huge impact, and the impact benefits the individual, because we know the month of Ramadan is a training ground to curb the nafs. And what you find is that fasting is an overall detoxification. It's a training ground to curb the nafs, but it also benefits the physical body, it benefits our mind. We become more patient in Ramadan, more thankful, And ultimately, this is what Tibb Nabawi aims to do. It aims to align the way we live our lives in a healthy manner to our religious obligation. And Tibb Nabawi reminds us that to seek good health is a religious obligation. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.